So we enter the top 3 of my favourite werewolf movies, and at number 3 it is that 2000 classic Ginger Snaps. Now Ginger Snaps is one of my favourite films ever. I think that although it was made in the year 2000, it could have been made at any point since. It's still very raw, it's still very effective, and it hasn't aged at all. It's a canny opening. There's pans across these roofs of a suburban town. It looks quiet, it almost looks like England. Then suddenly you cut to a child playing in the garden with his mother, and it turns nasty very quickly. The intro credits are some of the best I can ever remember seeing. They are basically the schoolgirls project, load of photos with the credits flashed over them, and basically the schoolgirls project was death. The 2 girls, who I'll talk about shortly, just basically take pictures of each other dying, and it's effective, goes down well amongst the rowdier members of the class, and the teacher tries to be supportive but can't, and he basically blows his top.
God. I mean, I am completely sickened. Right? Sickened by that. Wasn't I?
And we're into the start of the movie. A great start, really good, really effective, and it's the introduction to the 2 girls. Now the two girls are sisters, and they are Brigitte, played by Emily Perkins, and Ginger, played by Katharine Isabelle. The fact that they are both 15, though Ginger is almost 16, shows that they were born very close together, and they're in the same class and same year at school. And they have a very thick bond between them. They've made a pact that they won't see each other out, and they'll both be gone by the time they're 16. So this plays a part throughout the movie. It comes up several times. Basically, they are 2 loners, and they are sort of pseudo-goths, in the way that goths often get portrayed in movies. They're obsessed with death, they're obsessed with the misery of life, the existentialist angst manifest. But they're played really well, and they're both quite actually interesting characters. So they are the dynamic of Ginger Snaps. One of the things I really like about Ginger Snaps is its acknowledgement and updating of Red Riding Hood myth. I mean, Ginger is all but red in a different guise, so I think this was obviously a reflection on the Red Riding Hood myth, which has been linked with menstruation and the oncoming of puberty many times in scholarly works. So I like the way that's been brought into this film. Now, that again, it links back to the Red Riding Hood myth. A lot of people have interpreted the Red Riding Hood myth as being a warning of the onsets of puberty, the dangers of adulthood facing women, and that's what is played within this film, but it's tipped on its head. There's not really anyone more dangerous or anyone to be more scared of than Ginger. So Ginger's infected around the time of her menstrual cycle. It's also a full moon. A nice touch, the film is also set at Halloween. The transformation, it's more than just, oh, somebody's turning into a werewolf. It's how the body reacts, how the body changes. There's an interesting little thing in this one that Ginger starts to grow a tail. So there are subtle changes as she becomes more werewolf, which again can be linked to the onset of adulthood and the changes that she's going through. They're both late developers, according to their mother. So this metaphor is a kind of double metaphor that we've got here. And frankly, Ginger is one of the most destructive, untrustworthy werewolves, even between transformations. The impact it has on her is quite impressive. She obviously does the Hollywood thing, and as she becomes more werewolf, she becomes more goth looking. It's a bit of an annoying trope that we see in a lot of films. But she becomes more aggressive, more sexual, more destructive. She doesn't need to be in a full werewolf transformation to rip the hell out of things.
I can't be like this!
It's raw, it's continuous, and it gives Brigitte so many problems to have to tidy up.
Uh-oh.
Now, there are two good supporting actors or supporting members of the cast in this, and one of them is the local drug dealer, who plays a much better, more rounded role than most drug dealers get to play in films. He's young-ish, and he's actually genuinely seems to come across as a nice guy. Bit of a surprise, but yeah. So that's one of the good supporting characters, and the other one has to be their mother. One of the weirdest mothers in horror history, I think. She starts off totally blasé about everything, finds out something towards the end of the movie, which I'm not going to say because it would be a bit of a spoiler, but then it just accepts it. Just, oh, well, we've got to deal with that. Yeah, she is quite a character. Yeah. So, two good supporting cast members. Obviously, the whole film belongs to Emily Perkins and Katharine Isabelle. They carry the whole film. But those two little roles are a nice addition. There are a couple of nice twists in this. Brigitte's trying to find a cure for Ginger, and as she looks at the devastation around her, having already done a few naughty things, Ginger says, well, what's the point of being cured? I'm only going to go to prison. And that's one of those questions that you often find yourself asking at the end of a lot of horror movies. Unless people are going to believe in the supernatural, someone's going to nick for this. And it's probably the wrong person, but we don't ever really dwell on that. In this film, it's dressed face on, and that's a nice touch. So that's why I like Ginger Snaps. It's clever, it's funny, it's groundbreaking in many ways, but it also respects the traditions of Red Riding Hood and the werewolf story. There is a lovely twist in the credits. It's made by Oddbod Productions, which, as horror fans will know, was the name of the werewolfy creature in Carry On Screaming. So that's a nice element. I quite like that. Yeah, so a totally different werewolf movie, a movie that has a lot of underlying messages and a lot of underlying story, acted well, in fact acted phenomenally well, and just really good fun to watch. So that's why Ginger Snaps is in my top 3. May not be everybody's favourite, but I love it. I think it's such a great film, and it doesn't seem that it's 25 years old now. That's incredible. It should, you know, it feels like it could have been released a few years ago. Obviously, film experts will point out why that isn't the case, but to me it still feels fresh, it still feels exciting, it does not seem to have dated at all, and yep, an absolutely fantastic film, Ginger Snaps. What will be my number 2? Well, that's probably in a video coming up shortly. Until then, take care.